Ago, ago. Welcome to this channel of School of Chieftaincy. Um, this channel is set out to educate the Africans and other main, people who are really interested in knowing much about chieftaincy, knowing much about our heritage and our culture and how they are structured in Africa and in Ghana and across other continents. Um, but today's lessons has been one of the debates across two tribes in Ghana that has to do with the Ashantis and then the Eʋes. Um, it basically has to do with who are the original owners of the cloth kente or kete. My name is Togbi Nufiala, and I'm going to take you through the knowing the original owners or who really um, are the originators of kete and what the real name is, either is kete or kente. We'll know that briefly. Usually, or during ancient times, um, the vertical loom was very popular, was much used in weaving kete or kente. And so you can see in the picture two vertical looms where the warp or the yarns are laid vertically, and then you will see that they will be using the hands to take the wefts through it, across it in interlocking manner to produce this. Some of them use what we call the reed, which is here, and some also have the shuttle, which have the wefts, wind around it to go through up and down. So you can see here the wefts and the reed, which will come to heat up to pack the fabrics or the yarns together. Yes. Now this is the horizontal loom, which we use in Ghana and other countries that are noted for weaving of kente or kete in that manner. And so basically you can see the parts labeled here: the pulley at the top there, the cross beam, the back beam, the cloth beam. The cross beam is also here again. We also have cloth beam, which the cloth is rolled on. We will see it in the picture as we move ahead. Now, the narrative of our friends Ashantis, their narrative was that this particular fabric came about through two farmers who are hunters and went on a hunting expedition. I think they say they are called Krugu, Amoya, and Water Crabbing or Crabber. And these are the people, the indigenes of Bunre, who went on a hunting expedition and then came across a spider weaving a web. And so they were amazed about the way the spider was doing it, and they decided to come back and replicate that using the raffia. And their first one they did was in a black and white raffia fiber, which was presented to the Ashanti king, which is Ashanti Hini. In around 1701 to 1717, that's their records they have stated. So that is basically what this Kente, as noted by the Ashantis, this is their story in brief. And so it was popularized by the Ashanti Hini to make sure that It is done everywhere. Now let's see how the Eʋe's narratives look like. And they call this cloth KETE, right? We call this cloth KETE. And this was actually traced from the Bible, or can be traced from the Torah, where it was, they are saying that it was identified as the coat of many colors, or an ornate rope, which has been woven or hemmed over centuries, and it can be identified with the Amu people, or the Amuau, when they first visited Egypt from Israel. These Amuau are the same as the Eʋeau, and today the Eʋeau are still called Amuau, or the Amus. They are still called by that name, as captured by the Torah. And so the picture you see has been, depicted somewhere around the 1900 BC, and that was captured for you to see. Those are the Amuau, and the cloth they were wearing are actually coats of many colors, which they state that the cloth they were wearing, look similar like the coat of many colors which Jacob gave his son Joseph for being a good child. Now let's look at some references to the Bible per the KETE these narratives. Genesis 37, coat of many colors captured there. 2 Samuel 13:17, garments of diverse colors, such as rope worn by kings' virgins' daughters. Right? Proverbs 41:19, spinning yarn, linen, wool, cotton, flax, loom, and weaving are all identified in the Torah. Exodus 35:25, spinning, all that were identified. Exodus 28:39, woven fabric with many colors, right? Such as sash. This sash is also called a KETE stole, and what you put on your neck. Sometimes on graduations, we have also seen the House of member of House of America, using it during the George Floyd's death to show sympathy to the black nations, or the colored nation, and so that is captured there in the Torah. Dyeing, all right, dyeing, how to colorize the fabrics or the yarns are all captured in the Torah, and also cotton, also identified there. And also some analogies were used in terms of how the fabric is rolled and cut off during the weaving process. When it's finished, how all that is done is used as an analogy in Isaiah 38:12. So you can read that for yourself. And how the weavers loom crossbeam, or the loom, was alluded to in other concepts in the Torah. Now the KETE, as we have seen in the Ashanti's narrative, the clear distinctions here is that the KETE, as the Eʋeau call it, is a full name. All right, it is actually called Kenate, Kenate, all right, but that looks so long, and so the easiest way to to comprehend this is to make it KETE, and KETE actually say all that you have to say in Kenate. All right, so KETE are actually or KETE is two words put together. They are action words, or which is more of the process of weaving. So ke means to open or shed. Te means press, close, compact, or pack together. So the process of opening and closing, all right, opening and closing and packing together is what is expressed here, which is the process of weaving. Now let's see how the kete, which is the original name from the people, has changed its way and becoming kente that is being pronounced today. If you look at the ke, which we have identified as open, na means just and, okay, te means to press, all right. So here it is, that's the process. Ke na te, so open and press, all right, open and press, which give us the name kanate. Now look at what is happening here. This is what our friends has done, and this is what we have done, because the language is ours, so we don't see the needs of putting the and to give just a name of a process, right? It's not like we don't want to make it look like it's a sentence, or the vowel do not want to make it look like it's a sentence, and so it has been shortened to have a name or a word that describe a whole process. And so instead of kanate, it has become this, that the na, which is the and, has been taken off. All right, it has been taken off from the name, and so we still have a good name to mention as kete. All right, kete, and this kete is the process that I've shown to you, or the process of weaving. Now, our friends who do not understand the language ever cannot pronounce this properly, and because they are very populous and they can, magnify a lot of things and adopt it and make it there small, the name sound in a manner that they would love to pronounce it. So what they end up doing is to take away the a from the kanate, still leaving the n over there, right? So they have this, okay, that's kanate, but with the a out of it, then it now sounds like this, kente, kente. So the original name of this cloth is not kente, it's kete, kete, open and close, or open and press, right? So basically, this is how come the name has converted from kete or kanate to kente instead of kete. All right, right. So that's basically it. So this is a process of weaving. All right. Now you see here that here is what we call shuttle, and the shuttle is having the wefts in there, and then this is the reed, okay, the reed which the weaver is holding, and once they open, this is the shading, all right, so they shade or they open it for the shuttle to pass across to the other side, and then the reed will now press, okay, so that is te, so this will te, and the opening here or the shading here is what we refer to as ke. Right, so you ke first, then you press or you tap. You see that? So that's what exactly it's doing. So you have the handles, okay, the handles are right there, you can see it from the back there. So it's the handles that would open the warp, right, into two for the process to go through. So that is kete for the people of or the Eʋe. Now let's see, what does it mean when you say kente? What does kente means? This is the meaning of kente. Kente or kente is basket, right? It's a basket. And the process of weaving basket is different from the process of weaving kete, or yes, the kete or the fabric. It's completely two different processes. All right. Our friends Ashantis call um, cloth ntoma, right? They call cloth ntoma. And so looking and comparing the name to anything at all that has to do with the fabric has not, you know, uh, gone close to it. The process that the twins who are the hunters went to see with the spider or the anansi, which is more like the anansi story, which has been falling in, which we have seen, what is being described as uh, kente does not match with what the spider process also looked like. All right, and so basically this is the name, and the original owners are the Ever people, and the story that came about when the question was asked, so how does the Ever people know how to weave kete? The answer was that they learned this process through um, uh, the people being captured by the Ashantis, and then they became their slaves, and through the slaves process, once they were there, they learned how to weave kente or kete, and that is never true. That can never be true. Then it can never be true because almost all the ever countries weave kete. We weave kete in Volta region of Ghana. We weave kete in Togo. Other people weave kete in Benin, and other people weave kete in Nigeria. And even in Nigeria, a lot of places or a lot of kete weaving processes go on there. And so the story about people learned that from our brothers Ashantis through being slaves and all that. That is never true. That is never true. The owners of this cloth or the owners of this iconic identity of Africa is coming from Evuao, who are the original owners. The Evuao are the original owners of this cloth. Thank you very much.